friend of ours, and we're from here in Ohio. We pretty much just travel all over the country and hit a lot of the bigger locations. So, anybody have any questions for us? Ask some good questions. You guys got questions?
No, I don't know my question.
What's that?
What do you do? I'm not fucking doing
We travel all over and we film and document a lot of locations. Just searching for the paranormal.
any kind of entity.
Yeah, just anything that'll communicate, I guess. If we ever have one certain thing we're looking for, we just go in and set up all of our equipment, pretty much film and investigate all night long. Yeah, some locations we'll get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, we won't leave until 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning. And then
Do you use mediums?
we have, when we first got started, we worked with medium, but we haven't lately just because I guess we don't know too many of where we live.
Where do you live?
Up in Greenville, Ohio.
I taught there 2 years.
Oh, did you?
In Jock County?
Yeah.
I lived in Arcana.
Okay. Yeah, just right down the road. When we were younger, we used to run around.
Oh, and that's where I had my first experience.
In Arcana?
Yeah, in a big farmhouse.
Yeah,
Well, I did mess my first that I accepted.
You know where Franklin Road School is? Outside Franklin Road School.
I came here.
it's Pittsburgh. It's right there by Arcana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's where we went to school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We had about the same experience. Grew up in a haunted house. Had a whole bunch of stuff happen. That's pretty much about what got us into doing this. Which I think gets in a lot of people into doing it. You know, first experience or something like that.
So you're a medium? Or?
Yeah, I'm a retired art teacher, 35 years. And
Okay.
my first 2 years of teaching, I taught in Greenville. Not a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I started reading tarot cards. I trained at Lilydale, and I found that it just led into mediumship, you know, just a natural thing.
Yeah, the 4 of us have no psychic or medium abilities whatsoever. We just rely on our equipment.
So I'm bad with equipment, so there you go.
Works both ways then, yes.
I think the longer you do this, the more you start picking up.
Well, that's what happened, I think, with the show that was on TV. What's it called, though? They spoke at Lilydale.
Ghost hunters?
Yeah.
What was it?
Ghost hunters?
Yeah, I noticed that when they first started that show, they were total
Against it?
tech,
Yeah.
you know. And now, you know, they even spoke at Lilydale about, you know, their experiences, so.
I mean, it's like anything else. So you do it more and learn more about it. I guess you're always most
I think
skeptical.
a lot of it is trusting.
Yeah.
Your sixth sense will open up a little bit the more and more you do it too. I mean, everybody has it. You just don't realize it. The more and more you do it, you get the feelings and stuff like that start to develop.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of it is brain activity. You know, if you're technical, you're on that left side really heavy. And if you're, you know, an artist or something, you're on that right side really heavy. You know, you're more visual. So I think there's some thing going on there too.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, just at the bottom.
I can't hear
If
you.
you're like me, just at the bottom.
At the bottom.
So have you guys all investigated before? Or ever? I know you guys have. You guys have. I know you guys have. Have you investigated before?
You went with us to the jail.
Gotta wait a few years, huh?
Yeah.
Are you wanting to get into investigating?
I'm just interested in finding out what other people have seen and heard.
Yeah, we've definitely seen and heard a lot of things. We've got South Pittsburgh Hospital and then Public Hospital out in Illinois. Probably 2 of the most active places we've ever been to. And what I enjoy about those places is when you're doing your questioning and stuff, a lot of the activity went along with what you were asking or what was taking place during the investigation. So for me, that always makes it better when it's more of an intelligent audience. But for sure, the If nobody's ever been to the public hospital, it's
Definitely a place.
a little bit of a drive, but it's definitely an active location. We ended up
Only 3
sleeping
hours for us.
in the building. We got, that's one of the locations we got there at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So about 5 o'clock in the morning, we set up cots in the middle of the hallway, which separates the men's ward and the women's ward. And the hallway used to be an old TB hospital. So from their records, they had about 4,000 people that passed away there. And a lot of them are buried on the property. And so we set up cots and we were going to sleep. So we set up night vision cameras all around us. And probably about 4 minutes before the camera quit recording, ran out of tape, you hear noises in the hallway like footsteps, and something hits the metal trash can, and 2 of the cots that these 2 are sleeping on lift up and slam on the ground.
Really?
Like it's
That's awesome.
So it's whatever's there is definitely pretty aggressive compared to a lot of the other places we've been to.
Where's that place at?
It's in Bartonville, Illinois. It's just south of Peoria. From where we're at, it's about a 6-hour drive.
Is that the one that you guys posted a video of the guy, the man who cried at
Yeah.
everyone who passed away? Okay, I watched. That was an interesting video.
What's nice about that place
Coming with me to the event?
during the time of its operation, there were 70-some buildings on the property. Now, a lot of those buildings have been converted over to office space, storage. So there's only a handful of buildings that you can actually investigate. But throughout the property, there's grave sites. I think around the public, there's probably 4 or 5 different grave sites, so you can also investigate with that. Then the South Pittsburgh Hospital would probably be one of our second most active locations. And we spent 2 nights there. We never left the building. We just started investigating on like a Friday, and we didn't leave the building until Sunday.
That was another place where we was actually sleeping, and actually had stuff happen while we were sleeping too.
Had a door slammed so hard, ripped all the hinges. We caught all that on tape. They also got it on there. Because I think they've got 19 IR cameras set up throughout the hospital. So they were able to capture all that stuff.
What makes something more active?
I think, depending on like your group, I know anytime we will investigate with other groups. So sometimes you go in with, 15 to 20 people. And for us, it's always been less active when we do that versus, us 4 going in. We seem to get more activity that way. And we're always, if we're on location for 3 or 4 hours and we're not picking up any activity, we'll try to change up our approach to the investigation. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it's just trying to adapt to each situation.
Does the energy of the entities make a difference as far as more active and not so active, or?
I think so. It seems to be the ones that are more intelligent, that want to interact with you, are the more active ones. But then when you get into like the residual hauntings and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's like sitting around, it's like fishing, sitting around waiting for something to happen. But I like the ones where you ask it to make a big bang, and it makes a big bang. And those have been far and in between lately. I guess it's just about getting into the right location at the right time.
If you do this another decade, how do you think it's going to change your worldview and how
good
you,
question.
how you deal with reality? And where do you think you're all going to go with this?
I've thought about that. Hopefully a good place.
Because it's a little schizophrenic right now.
I've always,
Daily life versus other things you see. What do you do with that information?
anytime we talk to anybody skeptical about the paranormal, the guys that went out and did it themselves or had their own experiences. I remember one of our first locations was in Hardin County, Ohio. It was a museum. And me and Rocky were standing up on the 2nd floor, and there's only the 4 of us, and we know there's no women with us. And me and Rocky heard a female voice, plain as day, like she was standing right there in the hallway with us. She started talking. And then we heard footsteps, and that was it. And that was one of our big first experiences as far as being a paranormal team. And once we experienced that, we were hooked. So that's, I guess it just opens your eyes to know that there is something else out there when you pass along. Hopefully it's, like I said, hopefully it's good.
So do you see it becoming an accepted science?
I think as the equipment gets better over time, and it will be, hopefully.
I think you're still gonna always have your skeptics out there that's not gonna believe that. Still, say whatever about it. But until they get out there and do it.
A lot of people I know around here feel that it is, what's the word? Demonic.
To look at it is suspect.
And that if you are in any way involved in it, that's, you're dancing with the devil, pretty much.
I think that's where, like, a lot of paranormal teams, when you put your evidence out there and you go out and you meet with the public, and you do it the right way so you're not turning people off and, making them feel like a bunch of idiots or anything like that. So as equipment gets better and the teams get better, and there just seems to be more and more teams doing it. So hopefully it's got a bright future.
I hope so too.
But what will we do with the information? What will we do with it? What will it tell us? Where will it take us?
I don't know.
Main thing, we can there's another side from here.
Well, like for us personally, we grew up in a haunted house, had all kinds of activity, and then of course we moved out there when I think we were 8 or 9. And you get along with life, you forget about that stuff, and then as you get older and you start having kids, you start thinking about what you experienced. So anytime we're able to capture a voice or capture something unexplained on video, it just helps us answer the questions that we experienced when we were kids. And, getting out and talking with the public and sharing our experiences and helping families that are experiencing the same stuff and stuff like that.
I wonder if the communication will get better.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes you think it's almost like it takes 2 steps forward and then 1 back.
In what way?
Just, we're out groups like us and these guys are out doing their best investigating and presenting evidence in good light, and we have other groups that go out and act like idiots. And we talk with a lot of locations across the country where, if you guys mess up and run with us no more, a lot of you quit doing paranormal events and let the teams come in just because of the way the teams act. So I think that 1 or 2 teams makes the rest of us look like.
Yeah, we usually try, to hold a couple of live events every year, and that helps raise money for historical, places and stuff, and lets people come in that can't, afford to go out and spend a whole bunch of money, $400 or $500 to go investigate one place.
Sure.
So we try to hold them, then we just let them go and do their own thing and try to guide them a little bit. And I think tries to help out, but like Josh said, you'll get a team that'll go in and do something like that, just be totally idiots. Then it makes it even harder to get into these places to go along.
I think if anything hurts the paranormal field, it'll be locations. Like, not necessarily this one, but when we first got started, you could go down and do Waverly Hills for $350. We just did it. It cost us $1,000. We've had other locations that it was $1,800, another one was $2,400. So once these places figured out they could make a lot of money at it and get rich, they skyrocket the prices. And, guys like us, that's why it's always cost effective to have a larger team. So I think if anything for the paranormal field, it would be big locations like that.
So speaking of Waverly, what was some of the activity you guys had this last time?
Since we haven't released the video yet.
Okay,
That's why I didn't say anything.
Okay, I should say, did you have experiences?
Yeah,
Because when we
definitely.
went, we had nothing.
It was an active night.
You guys got lucky.
I think it was going back to what they were talking about earlier is, when we did it the last couple of times, there was 50, 60 people there. I think we had like 9 or 10 people there this time. So we were able to spread out, it wasn't all intimidating. We had some good activity. There was at one point, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Waverly Hills, with the layout of it. Because we had our command post set at this part of the building, and I took the night vision all the way to the other side of the building to get away from everybody. When I was back there, I had my night vision camera, and then I had our big camera. And our big camera, the audio, and the camera, and everything just went dead. So I made a comment about it, and then there was a huge bang. And right after that, I asked, "Was that you?" And then you hear a kid start
You're
laughing.
talking about here?
No, this is at Waverly Hills.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Where's Waverly Hills?
It's down in Louisville, Kentucky. It was a sanatorium for TB patients. And I think after that, nursing home.
Yeah.
Now it's a fond attraction. It's a huge building. It's what, 180-some thousand square feet. It's just a huge facility. So we definitely had a very active
You
night.
guys investigated last night too?
No.
No, last night we were there at the beginning of the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. We were there the 7th, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was a public one, like they were talking with like 50 or 60 people. And we had
Like we had the people that went with us, we had our basically the floor to ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
Like we had like 1 or 2 extra people that didn't go with us, with our group on each floor, but
it just goes to show you that it could be active one night and one night not, you know. At one point in time, some of the people that we were with fell asleep on the roof. That's how great of a night it was.
Whole place to fall asleep and get breeze.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, we'll do places like the Front Theater. We've done that before. And the first time we got all kinds of activity. The second time we didn't get anything. Third time we get a little bit. And the fourth time was pretty active. So this is just got to get there on the right time. We did this place early this year. Like, yeah, sometime over the winter we did this place. We found the basement. The basement, then the one room upstairs where Rocky actually seen a black shadow
What room?
right behind me.
So, third floor, as soon as you get up the steps, third floor, you turn right.
Is that up one landing?
You know where that floor slants down?
First painting is,
It's that floor, it's got the slope.
yeah, it's got the slope.
There is a third floor.
As soon as you got the steps.
Is there 3 floors people here?
Right, you turn right, up these steps. It's right there. Basically, Coach he's in front of me, I was over there filming. And when I was getting the camera ready to roll, and he turned right, and he walked down the hall, and I was getting the camera turned on, trying to get it turned on, and I went out there, turned right, and you see this huge black shadow just run straight through the wall. Yeah,
One of our favorite EVPs came from this building.
yeah.
Probably one of the EVPs, if we would have heard it when we were down there investigating, we would have probably left.
What did it say?
It said we had a loud noise down there which we couldn't figure out what it was. But 15 minutes after that, we captured an EVP that said, "I did the big crash." And then we caught another EVP of what sounded like a child. It said, "He did this to me." What that matter? But the one that said, "I did the big crash" just sounded like something straight from The Exorcist. It was one of those eeriest, most clearest EVPs. And I know if I would have heard that, I would have been asleep.
The other one sounded like
So we had fun here. We hope to be back up here again sometime.
I hope when you come, I'll give you my card, you can call me.
I will have to do that.
So I want to come too, because I told you before I worked upstairs.
Yeah, I think Monty, that was that her name? She was here last time. She joined us.
Francis?
Blonde hair lady.
Oh.
Oh, that's Mark.
So it's angel card readings.
But she was down there with us for about a half hour last time.
Thank you guys.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, we're gonna try and so we're gonna be here for the investigation tomorrow.
I'm hoping I can come.
And we're gonna try to get down the basement alone to see if
I personally, like I told you, didn't get much from the basement very often. But like you said, it fluctuates So, who knows?
Right.
That's what's weird. It's like the first 45 minutes, it was just non-stop activity, and then the place just went dead. At about 10.
After we touched it,
It just, all the activity stopped. We got no noises, no EVPs, and nothing's happening. So, I don't know if they just use up their energy and then, or they just give up on us.
You still have, yeah. We do have a picture of a shadow.
no, I seen one. We was all, yeah, we was,
I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
I'd be
I'll do that like I said.
yeah,
I
we
can't
was
find
in the
mine
basement. I think you was, what is that, the furnace down there? And Josh was standing like right there in the doorway by the furnace. I think Rocky's right off left. And I could have swore there was somebody, when I looked at Josh, there was somebody standing right, I mean, pretty much as low. I'd say not as tall as me. Just standing right behind me. So what that was, I got it.
There's a crawl space.
Yeah.
That crawl space. I went back in there alone. And I did get a thing. I
Yeah,
thought,
that's just
surely I'm gonna get something.
You guys have any questions? I know you guys get out. They just investigated the crime. You guys ever heard of the Crump Theater over in Columbus, Indiana?
No.
It's,
You gotta get all the way up top where the sauna is. I was drenched after all of them. That's where up the very top where they kept black people and stuff set up there. And
Back for segregation.
Oh yeah.
We actually caught people trying to sneak into it too. Yeah. There's a bunch of like a group of like 6 or 7 girls trying to sneak in while we were doing it.
Walking the streets and
Yeah.
looking and start pushing them.
Yeah, then it happened to take a
You
break.
staying tonight for the investigation?
Timmy looked over there,
We're like,
and then
hey,
looked back and looked back.
Is there any stories anybody would like to tell about the experience they had?
I had been, we were together one time. This person that's lives close here off the country, called us and was feeling all kinds of things happening. That's probably the weirdest experience I ever had. I actually got touched and shoved, and man, I was out there so
I'm
fast.
running across the street with the lawnmower and
Whoa, okay, that's enough. But
trimmer.
there was a,
Huh?
you tell better. Weed hog.
Yeah, trimmer, weed whacker, it's all the same.
American people that were being haunted by Native Americans, remember? Oh. And they didn't know that there was a big burial ground mound in their frickin' backyard. I mean, you know. They had a whole series. I mean, I'm sorry, I just. Okay. No, but have you been touched?
Yeah.
Yeah. That freaked me out. I don't know.
Remember the first time I was touched, we were up in Fulton County, which is way up north, up by Lake Erie. And there's another museum. And they didn't want us to go up to the attic to investigate because of the floors. But the owner, he said, you guys can stay up here and just stand right in this area in the EVP session or whatever. So we're standing there, and something grabs the back of my leg, pulls on my pant leg. And then we caught a dark shadow. It looked like Bigfoot, but it was like solid black.
Yeah.
And you could see its arms moving everywhere, just walked straight out of the room.
Yeah.
I think the only downfall was that's back when we first got started, so our equipment and stuff wasn't near as good as what it is now. So the video was kind of grainy.
One got hung up there, or she hung herself up there or something. That was the story.
We do a lot of museums just because of the history.
We had a good experience outside of town. We were all night in a building that was vacant, very historical, had historical value. One of the things they said when we got there was that Abraham Lincoln had been in that house. And I said, oh yeah, right. I wasn't buying that. I thought, yeah. If we were in New England, it would be George Washington. Give me a break. I did not think that happened. So at the fabulous 3 in the morning, which as you know, often things seem to happen at 3 in the morning. At 3 in the morning, I was upstairs and I heard a train whistle, just as plain as anything. I listened to that train whistle, I listened to it come, I listened to it go, and I said, wow. And then I went, wait, steam whistles anymore because my father kept a steam train going for a historical society. I knew the sound of the steam train. I said, that's ridiculous. So of course in the morning in the light, I walked back behind the house to look. There are no tracks back there anymore.
And something started my car then.
Yes, yeah, there were a number of things that happened.
We went out, my car's running.
So I went back to look, I went to hit the museum then after that and said, Abraham Lincoln did indeed go to that house. And what happened was, they were mustering troops for the Civil War, the war between the states. And he had done, he was twice, when he found out he was the president, he was at the Capitol building. And then his casket went through and set at the Capitol building up there. But at this time, he made a tour from the Capitol down through, and he stopped off in this county because each group would muster their own troops, their own unit. So he stopped and had dinner there, went on down to Portsmouth where another unit was formed. So he very indeed was in that county, and there were tracks. So I found that to be amusing. And a nice historical.
That's one of my favorite experiences that took place up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We were up there doing an investigation, and we decided we had a bunch of time to kill during the day, and just so happened that day they were doing reenactments on the battlefield and stuff, so there was quite a few people there. And we were up on top of that hill, I can't remember what the name of it was. It was like the lookout hill that they were all fighting for because it was such a good vantage point. And so I'm standing there filming, there's people around, but I heard somebody, it sounded like they were right in my ear, with a deep male voice that said, you can see the Union Army from here. So I turned around and who's this idiot talking in my ear? And there wasn't anybody within 15 feet of me.
I went to a ghost presentation, and it was reenactors who had had experiences, who were telling the things that happened to them. And it was so cool that I started counting the guys in their uniform. I was like, how many guys came in here? Their stories were bad.
See, normally they would let a paranormal team actually go onto the battlefield and investigate. But sometime later this year, we're going to go up. There's a big white farmhouse that used to be used as a hospital in the Civil War. And they've actually got pictures when they would go in and do their surgeries. They would have to amputate the bodies and they'd throw them out the back window. And I'm not kidding you, they would be piled 6 feet high, the arms and legs and stuff like that. So we're going to go back and investigate that hospital. And it's like almost dead center in Gettysburg battlefield. So we'll go out and do the yard and not actually step foot on the battlefield.
So you can't film the battlefield.
Yeah, they're really, really strict. I mean,
They don't believe in it.
Yeah.
And the paranormal and all that.
Well, see, the good thing is they're open, like right now they're open until 10 o'clock in the evening. So a lot of people go out there and just snap 1,000 photos or walk around voice recorders.
The reenactors had a photograph, had a large photograph of someone, and they said when we got back, we said, who's this guy? Who's that guy? And nobody knew that guy. So they called and hunted everywhere, and they said nobody has that uniform, and they got historians to find the insignia that this guy had, and there were no reenactors at that time who were in that unit. So they said, we don't have any idea who that guy is. But they found out historically who he was, or his unit, what his unit would have been.
Hey, if you like history, like paranormal, it's definitely a place to visit because it's, I mean, just to walk around, know what took place there. You guys put that on your list. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Let's go on the list.
Yeah, it's on everybody's list.
You like hanging out in our garage.
How long? How long?
Not long as the way to us.
Yeah, we actually drove out to Pennsylvania. Did all the daytime filming, did all the interviews and stuff, investigated all night, and then drove straight out. We were so tired. Because I'm never doing that again. Never doing that.
I had about 2 hours on this, so it's about 12 hours.
Yeah, I probably should have stayed somewhere.
The furthest we drove, probably St. Augustine's, probably.
We were gonna go in like March. Me, Jen, and Jimbo were gonna go in March. They had a expo convention thing going on out there, but we didn't go.
Yeah, we just spent a week down there.
Got staying in the closet with Freddy Krueger. That was a little,
That'd be fun.
especially when they would shine a light or something through, then all I'd see is his face go. Alright, I can't do this much longer.
Yeah, if you bring that stuff in, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it. And then you can like us on Facebook.
Yeah, do you want me to get touched or anything?
We went to Raws too. Almost everybody there got touched. Yeah. The current, my brother, he actually got scared played with. Oh, yeah. And then he got his back rubs. Felt like he was getting his back rubbed. It was actually on stage after we just came out from the basement.
Yeah, they followed him down in the basement. We actually got a little electro thing that said, "Yeah, I think I see something behind you," like a joke. And then it spiked up.
Yes, I'm close to him as soon as he said that. Went up to it.
Josh was actually in the Bell's bathroom. Women's. Yeah.
Those two weren't supposed to be in there.
I think that's why it's smacked.
Have you guys seen the balls on the back?
Probably.
What was weird is like right after Sean has the face, you can actually see it's on the inside of the face.
Well,
While I was there, they were getting stuff out of the car. I was unlocking the ports. And I could hear children running by the theater, the door where you go into the new theater, and I was freaking out. I hear whispers from guys. Well, I was on camera. So I go over there. I looked right in the chair. I was like second row, third seat. I saw that cover. I was like second row, third seat. And I saw the little chair thing just flip up. Like somebody just sat down and got up. And I heard creep like long, so I was running away. I was like, oh, I'm out of here. I ran to the front of the desk.
It's always fun until something happens.
Well, that's the question. If you want to go, you think you're going to see something, why are you marking it?
I want to see it. It's just I was alone, and there's a bad spirit that's there, and I thought it was him.
We're actually letting
Running in the dark is
spirits
probably
go
bad.
across. We're actually,
When we get done, I'll show you this part of this video.
we
We're at
got
the
shot in the head
hospital.
in the drug deal.
You know, we've seen and experienced a lot of things, but when we were standing in the middle of the hallway, you hear a loud scream and just this god-awful crashing sound.
Alright.
Yeah, there's a bit. If Eddie comes out, you have a hell of a night.
Sean takes off running. I'll run this
All
over.
the kids are standing station.
I mean, you always want to experience something like that, but when something that significant takes place,
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, it's going to catch you off guard. You may not run like him, but
That's when I changed my voice and everything.
Yeah.
It's on the video out there. And, I mean, because I guess you don't really just expect something like that. I mean, it was just like the dry hair from my face, and it just screamed so loud. And like, went right through me. I was like, yeah. Luckily, Rocky said that doesn't.
152.
Well, you know, when I screamed, when I was pushed. These Native Americans were bad. These people were that stupid. And not respectful.
Jeez.
You know. I was pushed, and I knew it wasn't a friendly push.
yeah.
But she stayed right in the room, and
It was all fun.
and you saw a mist. Yeah.
We run like little dogs.
I don't care if it's all Rocky's feet come out from under him.
I guess if it happened all the time, it wouldn't be.
I think it just depends how, like, you used
You'll
to.
go
You know what I'm saying?
30 investigations to get little things here and there, but then
Yeah.
you get into one that's just throws you for a loop.
Yeah, I didn't go back. You didn't either. I wouldn't. I didn't go back.
I think the one thing is, if you're watching any of our stuff, we never use a lot of equipment. We rely pretty much on our video cameras, voice recorders, and our own personal
Oh,
senses.
do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're not all gadgety and whipping equipment out and setting it all over the place and stuff. So we're always on the move. You hardly ever see us sit down and do like an EVP session or anything like that. We just go until something happens or it doesn't happen.
I have a violin at home that when I rent up here, I brought the violin and I don't play it. And James loved it. He didn't play it, but he became more communicative when the violin was there. I could smell his tobacco. I mean, he didn't really say much to me, but I could tell he was there more. It was just by putting that violin there. So, bring it to them if I'm not.
Basically, and people always ask us what's our favorite piece of equipment that we use during investigations and stuff like that. For me, I always just thought your body because you'll be sitting in this room at night and you'll feel fine, walk out the hallway, and then the hair on the back of your neck stands up and you just get an uneasy feeling. And so I think the more you do it, and the longer you've been doing it, you're able to tap into that stuff. Don't always rely on your equipment because your equipment can always be wrong. And I would rather take somebody smacking me in the face over a K2 meter like that. So that's just how we approach things. So I think they're getting ready to kick us out of here. I don't know what time it is.
Thank you so much. I'll
Like 5
talk to you
till.
later.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I probably had you in school.
Uh-oh.